if we think about Avengers Doomsday and we think back to Infinity War and Endgame, and the fact that the Infinity Saga did such a great job of explaining who all of the characters were, where were they at within the universe, what's the conflict, what's the differences between them, it was like we knew. Like, it was pretty well established. And so when you go into Infinity War and you watch this incredible script take all of these characters scattered throughout an entire universe and bring them together through the thread of that story and Thanos, it was brilliant, you know? We knew that the Guardians were out in space doing their thing. We knew that Hulk was with Thor and Loki, and they had just witnessed Ragnarok in order to stop Hela, and then they have a run-in with Thanos, right? Like, we knew that Steve Rogers and Captain America was underground because of the Sokovia Accords. They had beef with the actual Avengers and Tony Stark. We knew Tony was doing his thing. We knew Doctor Strange was doing his thing. And then the way it all kind of comes together is just, it felt so good, man. Holy. And I think the concern is that Doomsday's not going to feel anything like that. And I think a lot of fans look at like Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, and they're like, do you mean to tell me that these three projects are supposed to set up the status quo that then we will see Doomsday and RDJ Doctor Doom like mess with and handle? Like, how is that possible? Okay. But it is possible. It is actually a plan. And so let me explain it to you. Okay. So Brave New World, we just watched it. Brave New World, even though I don't think it's the best, it does a decent job of establishing certain things. First of all, Sam Wilson is Captain America. Okay. Sam is known to be Captain America. He is famous as Captain America. And especially after he fights a literal Red Hulk in Washington, D.C., and it's this massive thing, and it's literally the president of the United States. Yeah, bro, people are pretty aware of Sam as Captain America. So Sam is definitely solidified as Captain America at the end of that movie, at least as far as the lore. You might not like it. You might think it's whack. You might think he's got too much going on, or he'll never be Steve Rogers, or whatever. But for the sake of the actual story going into Doomsday, Sam Wilson is absolutely Captain America, and everybody knows it. Most people accept it. That's what it is. Now, President Ross was trying to establish the Avengers. Okay, that's also a thread in the film. And we don't know what the status of that, like, actually becomes after, you know, the whole Ross turning into the Red Hulk, etc. But if you think about it, they still did that treaty, right? They have that treaty with Ross, and they're allowing that to continue on, even though he hulked out and almost killed a bunch of people. So maybe they're also going to have the Avengers be a thing under maybe the vice president that now becomes president, or maybe they will get a new president or whatever, right? But the point is, Sam Wilson is Captain America. The United States government wants new Avengers. They want Sam Wilson as Captain America to lead the Avengers and to reestablish them. And the president turned into a Hulk. He's in a prison with the leader. And the leader ends up giving a warning to Sam Wilson. Now, look, this post-credit scene was ass. I hated this post-credit scene. But one thing it establishes is that Sam, as Captain America, as potentially the leader of the Avengers, he has been given a warning that his world and the heroes of this world are going to have to fight against other worlds. And that's a big freaking deal. So we can assume that Sam's going to take that seriously. He's going to be doing something to prepare. Maybe getting other members of the team back together. Maybe he's going to go tell Banner that Banner needs to stop being a pussy and actually get under a barbell again or something. We don't know exactly, but that's kind of like status quo. That's established. Okay? Now, going into Thunderbolts. What's the deal with Thunderbolts? Well, one thing that I forgot to mention about Brave New World, but that will be heavily explored in the Thunderbolts movie, is that Bucky Barnes is trying to become a congressman. So he's no longer trying to be a hero. He's trying to be a congressman. That's something that's established in Brave New World. And I think it's going to directly tie in to Thunderbolts. There's a moment, I guess spoilers for Brave New World. There's a moment where Bucky meets up with Sam in the movie. And Bucky says that he's about to go to a fundraiser stupid fundraiser in Washington, D.C. I don't know if he says that exactly, but he is going to a fundraiser, okay? I believe that will be the exact scene that we see in the Thunderbolts trailer with Bucky at that, like, place where they have Loki's scepter and all of these other artifacts. So I feel like that's the fundraiser. And maybe it's an auction for memorabilia from the Avengers 10 year or something like that, right? And I think in the Thunderbolts movie, what we're going to see is Bucky Barnes and a lot of other super soldiers form another group of heroes. They are going to be called the Thunderbolts, but I believe the asterisk either means New Avengers or Dark Avengers or just Avengers. Okay, now that's kind of important because what those two things mean together is that when we go into Doomsday, the Thunderbolts team and the team that Sam establishes as the Avengers, those will both be important players within the film. In Infinity War, we had it so there was Steve Rogers' team of Avengers, there's Tony's team of Avengers, and they're kind of acting separately, right? But they're both Avengers teams, and they're fighting against, Thanos and Thanos' cronies, etc. So what I'm saying is you're going to get the same thing in Doomsday. From everything we've heard, from all the insight from insiders and all that, you're going to get the same thing in Doomsday. You'll have the Thunderbolts team be a part of this, or the New Avengers. They'll probably be active like in DC or maybe in New York City, and they are there. Now, we don't know for sure exactly if Sentry, Bob, will end up being a part of the team or not. I would imagine he will. I would imagine they work that out and he becomes a member of that team. So you'll have Sam Wilson and his Avengers. You'll have Bucky Barnes and his Avengers. And maybe you'll have a lot of other, like, Marvel characters, especially if there's big things going on in New York. You might get a little Daredevil cameo, some stuff like that. But those pieces are in play. Now, you'll also have Doctor Strange. I'm just going crazy right now just talking about this, the plot and everything that I think is happening. But you'll also have Doctor Strange, but he will likely be having interactions with Doctor Doom, with the actual Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom. Okay? And so what that means is that just like in Infinity War, these teams of heroes on Earth, the two Avengers teams, essentially, they will be fighting against probably Dark Avengers. And I was thinking about this morning. You've got Bucky Barnes leading a team of Avengers, and you've got Sam Wilson leading a team of Avengers. Well, what would be crazy for both of them to witness? That would be Steve Rogers as an evil Hydra version of Captain America. Yeah, and so I think that's probably going to happen. You're probably going to have Hydra Cap and maybe the Dark Avengers, led by Hydra Cap, actually assault 616, and we'll have the new Avengers team fighting against the old Avengers in evil form as they work for Doctor Doom. So that is going to be an important piece of the puzzle. But what's up with Fantastic Four? So we talked about Brave New World. We talked about Thunderbolts, how they're established pieces that will become the board that the plot takes place on in Doomsday. What's up with Fantastic Four? I think one of the reasons that the fans are so confused as to how this movie is actually going to set stuff up is because it seems so wholesome and it seems so different than anything else in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This team, this family, seemingly is in a totally different universe. It feels like a completely different vibe. And sure, they're dealing with Galactus, and they're dealing with John Malkovich and his crazy demands of money, and he doesn't want to hang from cranes in front of green screens, et cetera, et cetera. They're dealing with all that shit. But how the hell does this have anything to do with what's going to happen in Doomsday? How does this tie into the two Avengers team, the Dark Avengers, etc.? Well, it all has to do with RDJ's Doctor Doom, and it all has to do with the fact that this universe that the Fantastic Four exist in is heavily rumored to be destroyed at the end of their movie. And so if you think back to the model of Infinity War, the Fantastic Four are probably essentially going to be Hulk. In Infinity War, Hulk witnesses Thanos. He witnesses how powerful he is. He witnesses that he has the Infinity Stones. He's the most powerful being in the universe. And then Hulk gets sent to Earth. Hulk then tells Doctor Strange and Iron Man about Thanos, and he sort of like kicks the whole thing off, lets them know that the big threat is coming. Well, the Fantastic Four, without getting too spoilery, because you're going to have to watch the video I drop later, that where I go into all the craziness. Without getting too spoilery, I believe this Fantastic Four team will witness RDJ Doctor Doom doing crazy RDJ Doctor Doom things, and they will witness the destruction of their universe. And so when they come in to the Doomsday movie, they're going to serve the role of Hulk, warning everybody, probably these two teams of Avengers, warning them about Doom, about the big threat and what is coming. So even though right now it seems really confusing and we're like, how is this all going to tie together? I think we have to face facts that essentially the Avengers for the Avengers Doomsday movie that we're going to see fight, it's basically Sam Wilson, his team, and Bucky Barnes and his team. Those are the Avengers. Okay? And they're going to be fighting on 616, likely warned and joined by the Fantastic Four. Their universe is destroyed. Fantastic Four jumps in. All of a sudden, Sam Wilson's like, you know what? Leader told me we'd be fighting against other worlds. This is crazy. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And then while that is happening, and they're fighting against Dark Avengers, potentially King Thanos or some other crazy shit, Doctor Strange is going to be having interactions with Doctor Doom. And we're going to be learning about what he's actually cooking, how he wants to recreate the universe, etc., etc. And then, you know, there'll be some Spider-Man scenes and all that, right? And we don't know exactly what Doomsday holds for us. There's a lot of questions, a lot of mystery still about what it's going to look like. But essentially, that is the plan. And that is how all of these movies are actually setting up what will happen in Doomsday. And I'm not saying it's perfect. Definitely not perfect. Definitely wish things had been done differently and things had been built up better. But as far as this year and the big projects that are coming out, those are them. And that is how they plan on actually connecting this to Doomsday and setting it all up. Thanks for watching. And if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.